Welcome back to Share the English. I've written an original story that uses the word cold in over 20 different ways. Did you know that stories are one of the most effective ways that you can improve your English? I'm going to read you the story and then I'll give you 3 different ways that you can use stories to improve your English. Hi, I'm Leanne Gallant and my mission is to share the English language with the world. Please subscribe to my channel and share it with 2 friends. Now, I'll read you the story and then explain all the expressions of cold. It's an unseasonably cold Wednesday evening in October, and Katie listens to Coldplay while she reviews some cold cases for her mystery club. She digs into the facts of a Newfoundland fisherman found murdered in cold blood. There was one promising suspect, but he disappeared and the trail has gone cold. As she finishes eating her cold plate dinner, she's glad this cold snap is supposed to end before the weekend. Out of the blue, Katie's cell phone rings. Usually it's her mother calling or someone cold calling trying to sell her something, but the caller ID shows the Spark Theatre a few months ago. Katie loves mysteries and she loves theater. The Spark Theatre is producing a play called The Mystery of the Stone Cold Breakfast. Katie is getting ready to audition tomorrow for the lead role of Ivy Hunter. She doesn't want to go into the audition cold, so she memorizes all of Ivy Hunter's lines. Audition day. Katie wakes up coughing and sneezing with a bad cold. She feels miserable. How will she be able to perform at the audition? She fills up on cold medication and heads to the audition, determined to do her best. The audition is a disaster. Katie tries to recite her lines, but her head is so foggy that she can't think straight. She gets her lines all mixed up. In the days after the audition, Katie knows she performed poorly, but is surprised to find herself left out in the cold. She doesn't even get a small part in the play. To make things worse, her good friend Jessica gets the part of Ivy Hunter. Since the auditions, it feels like Jessica is giving Katie the cold shoulder. Jessica quit drinking coffee cold turkey, and now she is quitting the mystery club. At the fundraiser, Katie thinks the director Dave is cold-hearted because he didn't even give her a small part in the play. She's so mad at him that she greets him coldly at the theater fundraiser and then ignores him the rest of the evening. Back to the present. Katie answers her phone. It's Dave from the Spark Theatre. Katie, there's been an accident. Earlier that day, near the cafe, Jessica was walking by her favorite cafe, longing for a cold brewed iced coffee. As she debated whether or not to start drinking coffee again, she turned to look back. Suddenly, she twisted her ankle and fell to the ground. In a cold sweat, Jessica worried if her ankle was broken. In the end, it was just a bad sprain, but that was cold comfort. She knew she wouldn't be able to perform in the play on the weekend. Back to the present. On the phone, Dave asks Katie if it's true that she memorized all of Ivy Hunter's lines, and would she play the part of Ivy in The Mystery of the Stone Cold Breakfast. Katie is thrilled, but there's one big problem. She's not at home in London. She's in Ottawa, looking after her sister's cat, Edna. It's her dream to play this part. What is she going to do? Dave says, I have an idea. I'll call you right back. 10 minutes later, Katie's phone rings, but it's Jessica, not Dave. She apologizes for being cold towards Katie and for quitting the mystery club. When she got the lead role of Ivy Hunter, Jessica thought Katie wouldn't want to be around her. they decide to be friends again. And Jessica has some good news for Katie. Jessica's aunt lives in Ottawa and offers to look after Edna, Katie's sister's cat. The next day. It's all working out. Katie studies her lines for the play on the train back to London the next day. That evening they practice and do a cold run-through of the play. On Friday evening, before she can get cold feet, Katie steps out onto the stage in Ivy Hunter's shoes. I hope you enjoyed listening to Katie's adventure. I told you that there are 3 ways you can improve your English through story, and the first one is through listening, which is what you just did. And I'm going to, in a moment, explain all the different expressions of cold to help you understand what you just heard. The second way to use stories is through reading them yourself. If you go to sharetheenglish.com and enter your email address, you can have a copy of this story to read anytime you like. The third way to use stories to improve your English is with shadowing, and I'm going to create another recording of this same story, and then I'll break it up so you can shadow me by speaking along with me as you listen to the story. So right now, I'll explain all the different meanings of cold that I've used in this story. In the first scene, it's an unseasonably cold Wednesday evening in October, and Katie listens to Coldplay while she reviews some cold cases for her murder mystery club. There's 3 colds right there. The first one is unseasonably cold. That means it's colder than usual for the time of year. For example, it was unseasonably cold for June, so we had to wear jackets. Katie was listening to Coldplay. Do you know the band? It's a British band known for songs like Yellow, Fix Me, and then one of my favorites, Viva la Vida. Katie was reviewing some cold cases. A cold case is an unsolved criminal case that is no longer actively investigated but remains open. For example, the detective reopened a cold case from the 1980s after new evidence was found. In Cold Blood, Katie was looking into the facts of a Newfoundland fisherman who was murdered in cold blood. They had a suspect, but he disappeared and the trail went cold. Murdered in cold blood means to do something violent or cruel without emotion or remorse. For example, the assassin carried out the job in cold blood. He showed no emotion. The trail has gone cold when an investigation loses all leads and progress stops. For example, after months of searching, the detective admitted that the trail had gone cold. There were no more new facts. Katie was finishing her cold plate dinner and wondering if the cold snap would end soon. A cold plate dinner is typically cold meats and salads. A cold snap is when you get some very cold weather that you aren't expecting. For example, in the spring when it's warm, you might get a cold snap for a few days when the temperatures plunge. When Katie's phone rang, she was thinking it's usually her mother or someone cold calling her. Cold calling is when you get a call that you don't really want. It could be someone trying to sell you something or possibly someone trying to scam you. Katie was hoping to get a part in the play The Mystery of the Stone Cold Breakfast. Stone cold means just that. It's cold as a stone. The coffee was cold, the eggs were cold, the bacon was cold, everything was stone cold. Katie was practicing her lines because she didn't want to go into the audition cold. Going into something cold means you're unprepared. So she was making sure to learn all of Ivy Hunter's lines so that she was prepared for the audition. Unfortunately, on the morning of the audition, Katie woke up with a bad cold. A cold is when you're coughing and sneezing. Achoo! It's generally a virus that lasts for maybe a week or 10 days. Katie filled up on cold medication before she went to the audition. Cold medication is medicine for colds. It could be cough syrup or it could be pills to help relieve the symptoms of the cold. Katie didn't get a part in the play, and she felt that she was left out in the cold. That means to be ignored, excluded, or forgotten. In this case, she felt excluded. Katie's friend Jessica got the part of Ivy Hunter in the play, and after that, it seemed like Jessica was giving Katie the cold shoulder. The cold shoulder means when you ignore someone or you're not very friendly towards them. Jessica also quit drinking coffee cold turkey. That's when we quit something like smoking or drinking or generally some bad habit or addiction that we have, and we quit right away. We don't ease off. We say we just quit cold turkey. Katie thought the director Dave was cold-hearted because he didn't give her a part in the play. Cold-hearted means unkind or lacking empathy. And then Katie treated Dave coldly at the theater fundraiser, so that means she wasn't being very friendly to him, similar to giving someone the cold shoulder. When Jessica was walking by the coffee shop, she was longing for a cold brewed iced coffee. Cold brewed coffee is coffee that is made with cold or room temperature water that's left to steep over several hours. When Jessica fell and twisted her ankle, she was in a cold sweat. A cold sweat is caused by fear, anxiety, or illness. In this case, Jessica was in a cold sweat because she was so worried that her ankle might have been broken. And then when she found out it wasn't broken, it was just twisted, that was cold comfort. That means that there was little comfort in the good news that she just twisted her ankle instead of breaking it, because she still wouldn't be able to perform in the play. Once Katie and Jessica sorted everything out, Katie went back to London and they did a cold run-through of the play, which is a run-through of the play without preparation. Katie had not practiced with the whole cast, so they only had one opportunity to practice together before the night of the first performance. That's a cold run-through. On the evening of the performance, Katie stepped onto the stage before she could get cold feet. The expression to have cold feet means to be nervous or doubtful before you do something. Another example of this would be she was planning to go parachuting, but she got cold feet and changed her mind. She was too nervous. Those are all the expressions, so now I'll read you the story one more time and you see if you can understand all the expressions using the word cold. And again, go to sharetheenglish.com and enter your email address if you want to be able to read this story yourself. It's an unseasonably cold Wednesday evening in October, and Katie listens to Coldplay while she reviews some cold cases for her mystery club. She digs into the facts of a Newfoundland fisherman found murdered in cold blood. There was one promising suspect, but he disappeared and the trail has gone cold. As she finishes eating her cold plate dinner, she's glad this cold snap is supposed to end before the weekend. Out of the blue, Katie's cell phone rings. Usually it's her mother calling or someone cold calling trying to sell her something, but the caller ID shows the Spark Theatre a few months ago. Katie loves mysteries and she loves theater. The Spark Theatre is producing a play called The Mystery of the Stone Cold Breakfast. Katie is getting ready to audition tomorrow for the lead role of Ivy Hunter. She doesn't want to go into the audition cold, so she memorizes all of Ivy Hunter's lines. Audition day. Katie wakes up coughing and sneezing with a bad cold. She feels miserable. How will she be able to perform at the audition? She fills up on cold medication and heads to the audition, determined to do her best. The audition is a disaster. Katie tries to recite her lines, but her head is so foggy that she can't think straight. She gets her lines all mixed up. In the days after the audition, Katie knows she performed poorly, but is surprised to find herself left out in the cold. She doesn't even get a small part in the play. To make things worse, her good friend Jessica gets the part of Ivy Hunter. Since the auditions, it feels like Jessica is giving Katie the cold shoulder. Jessica quit drinking coffee cold turkey, and now she is quitting the Mystery Club. At the fundraiser, Katie thinks the director Dave is cold-hearted because he didn't even give her a small part in the play. She's so mad at him that she greets him coldly at the theater fundraiser and then ignores him the rest of the evening. Back to the present. Katie answers her phone. It's Dave from the Spark Theater. Katie, there's been an accident. Earlier that day, near the cafe, Jessica was walking by her favorite cafe, longing for a cold brewed iced coffee. As she debated whether or not to start drinking coffee again, she turned to look back. Suddenly, she twisted her ankle and fell to the ground. In a cold sweat, Jessica worried if her ankle was broken. In the end, it was just a bad sprain, but that was cold comfort. She knew she wouldn't be able to perform in the play on the weekend. Back to the present. On the phone, Dave asks Katie if it's true that she memorized all of Ivy Hunter's lines, and would she play the part of Ivy in The Mystery of the Stone Cold Breakfast. Katie is thrilled, but there's one big problem. She's not at home in London. She's in Ottawa, looking after her sister's cat, Edna. It's her dream to play this part. What is she going to do? Dave says, I have an idea. I'll call you right back. 10 minutes later, Katie's phone rings, but it's Jessica, not Dave. She apologizes for being cold towards Katie and for quitting the Mystery Club. When she got the lead role of Ivy Hunter, Jessica thought Katie wouldn't want to be around her. They decide to be friends again, and Jessica has some good news for Katie. Jessica's aunt lives in Ottawa and offers to look after Edna, Katie's sister's cat. The next day. It's all working out. Katie studies her lines for the play on the train back to London the next day. That evening they practice and do a cold run-through of the play. On Friday evening, before she can get cold feet, Katie steps out onto the stage in Ivy Hunter's shoes. I hope you enjoyed Katie's story again. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do some other stories like this, and please subscribe to my channel and share it with 2 friends. Don't forget to watch for my shadowing video so you can practice your English in a different way. See you next time. Thanks for listening.